Welcome to Off Peak. This is a podcast about getting from point A to point B in Los Angeles. And I'm Barbara Bogave. Today, we consider the bus driver.
There's no honest bus operator that would tell you that he or she had never gotten lost. When you do get lost, it's a scary thing. You realize that all your passengers are wondering what is going on. Every day they get on this bus, and every day it goes down this street and turns left on that street and right on that street, and all of a sudden you know you're not where you're supposed to be, and all those passengers do know exactly where you're supposed to be.
You know, the funny thing about being a bus driver is the rest of us, when we take the bus, we just get on and we're there for a few minutes and the crazy things happen, and then we get off and we're gone. They're sitting there day in, day out. They must see and smell and hear everything. They're like a silent repository for the whole city. And today we're going to hear some of their stories. Let's start with Steve Rank.
We used to have a line called the 61 line. The 61 went up into Rancho Los Amigos Hospital, and it followed a lot of little hospital streets. And at some point I realized I was off route, and I was almost at the end of the line. I looked around, I only had one passenger left on the bus. I tried to fake my way back, and he said to me, "You're not going the right way." And I said, "Yeah, okay, I know. I'm just trying to figure out how to get back to where I'm supposed to be." He goes, "Oh, I ride this bus all the time. I'll get you back there." And he told me, "Okay, make a right here and make a left at the next street. Okay, now bear right." And I followed his directions, and pretty soon we were on a residential street. He said, "Okay, now stop here." And I said, "Are we back on the route, or is this where the bus is supposed to be?" And he goes, "No, but this is my house." And he got off the bus and walked into his house. And then I had to figure out how to get back on my own.
I'm up there with my papers trying to find out where I'm supposed to stop. And the lady says, "Let me help you." And she looked at, and she would tell me, "No, you're going to stop at Normandy. You're going to stop at Western and Crenshaw and La Brea," and so on. She was really worried about me, My name's Jack Bailey. I'm a retired bus driver, 56 and a half years. I started in 1959. I walked into the employment office at 1060 South Broadway, never thinking that I would be a bus driver. They said, "We'll train you." A few months later, the training was over, and I've been on my own ever since.
My name is Lilia Bailey. I started in 71 and I left in 91, so I was there for 20 years. My brother, who worked for the RTD, said, "Well, why don't you come and be a bus operator, because they're hiring now?" Well, little did either one of us know they were no longer hiring women. I started training. I was like someone from outer space to everyone that I met. And it was like a negative outlook toward me. A lot of women wouldn't get on. And there were women who were actually vicious and nasty. "Bitch, taking a job away from a man." Well, you just don't answer. You just keep driving. I got a lot of that. Some of them with venom, some with humor. I can remember there was a Hispanic lady. She must have been a domestic, so she was at that stop every day. And I'd pull up, and she'd start laughing, and I'd start laughing. She said, "No, no, lady." So that was, you have to have a sense of humor. So I'd laugh, pick up the passengers who wanted to get on, and wave goodbye to her. I'd go down Broadway at night through Chinatown, and I had this group of about 4 Chinese people, men and women. They must have worked in a factory or something, because every night they'd get on the bus and they'd have a feast for me. They'd have coffee for me. They'd have Chinese food for me. They were just so pleasant. So you balance all of this kind of thing.
My name is Borislombard, and I've been a Metro operator since 2000. One of the passengers that I did have was a handicapped young guy, and what stuck core with me that he was so excited that he was catching the bus by himself. He was smiling, had his lunch pail, had his money, and that kind of made me take a retrospective on my own life.
There was a black lady I'll never forget, because in my hometown, there are certain little sayings that are of that area. And one of them is, Lord, today. My grandmothers would say it like there's just some conundrum, and they'd say, oh, Lord, today. Donald Trump's running for president, Lord, today. So she got on my bus, she looked at me, she slammed her fare in the box, and as she walked back, she said, Lord, today. And I knew she was from back home, so I started laughing so hard. You have to have a sense of humor.
One of the most craziest things is I was driving the bus, and I hear some commotion in the back. And so I turn around, and there's a guy there, he's completely nude. He took all his clothes off. He's completely nude. So I pull him up. Excuse me, sir, you have to have at least shoes on here. So, yeah, so he looked at me like, oh, okay, and then just put his clothes back on. And, you know, I said, oh, okay, no, we're fine. We're fine now.
One passenger I remember in particular, a young lady and a man. She drove him to the bus stop. She would be driving the car, and they'd be sitting at the same stop every day. And when I got there, and he would always walk around to her side of the car and give her a kiss through the window as he saw the bus pulling up. And one day I got there and the car wasn't there, and I thought, oh, they're taking the day off, or he caught an earlier bus or something. Just as I was about to leave the stop, I saw in my mirror the car come up behind me on my left side, and it was really moving fast, and I know, oh, they're probably trying to catch me and get on the bus. He got out of the car and came running back and jumped on, and he said, oh, thank you for waiting for me. I said, aren't you gonna give her the kiss? You know, aren't you gonna go kiss her goodbye? And so he said, will you wait? And I said, yeah, sure, I'll wait. So he walked back to the window, and he kissed her, and she waved to me, and he got back on the bus. The next day when I got there, they were both there, as usual, in the car. And the girl got out of the car, and she came up and handed me like a piece of cake, you know, or a brownie or something like that that she had made, and you know, she just gave it to me as a little thank you gift, and that was a nice thing.
This is Bob Holland. I'm the Senior Executive Officer of Bus Transportation, and I've been here 34 years. Started out as a bus operator. My father worked here for 32 years. There's actually been a Holland on the property since 1958. When we were kids, he would drop us off at Lakewood and South Street, which was the bus that took you down to Huntington or Newport Beach. And he would tell us, my brothers, you get kicked off that bus, I'm going to kick your butts when you get home. And so the three of us would be sitting on the bench seat, you know, being real quiet, and all the other kids are just going crazy. You know, the operators really never liked that line because of that, you know, so we'd be sitting there like that. And I remember a couple operators, you guys are always so good, you sit there, and they say, yeah, our dad's gonna kill us if we don't. So when I had the opportunity, when I worked out of Division 9, I drove that line. I enjoyed it because I told the kids, all right, you know, they would put on all the different stations. We're going to listen to one station. It's going to KMET. And then if anybody complains, we got to turn it down, okay? And I never had no problems out there. I related with them. You treat them with a little respect. And that's my motto in life. You treat people with respect, you're going to get it back tenfold.
I worked a lot of late night assignments because I had a young son at home and I was taking care of him during the day while my wife was at work. I remember a lot of homeless riders who would get on and ride from one end all the way to the other just because it was you know, a safe place, it was warm and it was lit and you could get out of the weather. And I think every operator who works those OWL assignments has a regular crew of those riders. You get to know them, you see them almost every night, and as long as they behave themselves, you're not going to give them a hard time.
My name is Cesar Via, and I'm a bus operator for Metro. There was this homeless guy who would come in the bus, never paid, But he would get my bus, and he would fall asleep all the time. And I think after probably about a good year, I just told him, man, why you always getting on my bus and falling asleep? As just strike up a conversation, and like, I'm tired, I got nowhere to go, and but after that one day, it sparked a friendship. But now it's like I see him and like I greet him, hey, how you doing? And he just stands next to me. Now he attempts to pay the fare, and I don't know if it just because we started talking and opposed to like a bus operator with passenger, more like a friendship thing. Like, I understand his situation.
There are many, many drivers that I have worked with over the years. There was a guy, his first name was Garland. He was an older guy, and he was kind of a rebel. One time, after I had become a supervisor, I stopped his bus for some reason. And I got up on the bus and I talked to him, and I noticed that he had no socks on. He had his uniform pants on. His shoes, they were like slippers. They were like bedroom slippers. Like, he wanted to be comfortable at work, I guess. And of course, you're supposed to wear dark socks and polished black shoes or brown shoes. I said to him, Garland, next time I see you, you better be in full uniform. He kind of laughed at me. He didn't take me too seriously. He had been around 20, 25 years. I was a brand new supervisor. I'd probably been a supervisor for about a year. About a month later, I saw his bus coming down the street. I was coming in the opposite direction. He saw me and recognized me in my supervisor's unit. I see his leg come out the driver's window, the little window that's next to the driver. He stuck his whole leg out through the window. I still don't understand how you can even do that, but he had to contort himself. He stuck his whole leg out, and he had taken off his shoes and his socks, and he stuck out his bare foot and waved it at me as I went by in the opposite direction.
I love working with people. I love the interaction with people. It's just, to me, like when I go into the bus stop, I remember being a passenger, and it was late at night one day, and I was kind of scared because I was away from home. I was a teenager, and when I saw the bus, I was like, whew, it was like a sigh of relief. Now I'm gonna go home, and it just felt very comforting. I know that the passengers might feel the same. Like, they see the bus coming, like, okay, now I'm gonna go to work, to school, to shopping, the doctors. It's just a good feeling.
There are operators I know who are exactly suited for this job. They love talking to people. They love being of service to people. They don't get upset when they get the occasional passenger who is having a bad day and gives them a hard time. I always used to tell myself, I'm going to be on this bus for the next 8, 9, 10 hours. This person's going to get off in the next 15 minutes or half hour. So there's no reason for me to let that person spoil my joy,
You get up in the morning and you have it in your mind, I'm going to go out there and I'm going to get along with everybody today. And you just, every day you do that, And eventually people get to know you, If you're a mean bus driver, they know you, But if you're a good bus driver, everything becomes more pleasurable. I made contact with millions of people and happy that I did. One night I'm coming home and I'm on a train platform, the Green Line. An old black guy coming along with his bicycle, and he looks at me and he says, why ain't you behind the wheel somewhere? Isn't that wonderful? That's the rewards of life. And that's because the good foot is out there. You get it shine once in a while. Oh.
The bus drivers we just heard were Jack Bailey, Steve Rank, Cesar Via, Borislombard, Lilia Bailey, and Bob Holland. It made me think that the bus driver is like the ultimate Zen master, that they know that like ripples in the ocean, all passengers and traffic jams and enraged drivers will come and go and come and go. Join us next time when we'll be looking at why roads were really built. And here's a hint, those share the road bumper stickers are more ironic than you think. You can email us with your feedback about the podcast and story ideas at offpeak@metro.net. And of course, please like us on iTunes if you enjoyed this episode. This story was produced by Nelia Lell, edited by Jim Gates and Ben Adair, engineered by Ravi Carmen with production management by Rachel Harper for Metro. Music in this episode was created by Sun Little, whose self-titled album is available at sunlittlemusic.net. Till next time, I'm Barbara Bogave.